Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Your favorite season is back, and now's the time you can score savings at the Team Automotive Group. You can sell your vehicle to us, and we'll pay you top value. Or buy here and get a 90-day warranty on the purchase of a pre-owned vehicle. Score VIP service and save at every location of the Team Automotive Group.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hello and welcome as we start today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping all is well with you and yours and your little slice of South Louisiana heaven since the last opportunity we had to spend some time with you and yours. We start today's show with Louisiana news as we typically do. And more confirmation that we've got a problem, y'all. Juvenile crime all across South Louisiana, unless you have been just totally living off planet, has risen to a level that should concern all of us. Just since we were with you on Tuesday, and this, by the way, is the Thursday edition, we have reports of a 15-year-old in Thibodaux, Louisiana, being arrested in the shooting death of another 15-year-old. Here in the capital city, two 17-year-olds arrested this week in connection with the shooting death at a Breck Park. These two 17-year-olds face charges of illegal carrying of a weapon and other charges, but not attempted murder charges, which leads to speculation that the third suspect they're looking for is the actual shooter in the homicide. And of course, conventional wisdom says if this was two 17-year-olds arrested, the shooter, alleged perp, is probably a juvenile as well. Meanwhile, in Jefferson Parish, a 16-year-old steals a car, carjacks a victim. Police see the vehicle, give chase. He then opens fire on police officers who return fire, injuring him, and fortunately for his family and him as well, he didn't die from his wounds. Now that's just wrong on so many levels, y'all. You commit a crime, victimize a person by carjacking them, and when those charged with enforcing the law show up, you open fire on police officers. Additionally, speaking of Jefferson Parish, 3 teenagers steal a car, lead police on a high-speed chase, crash into 6 vehicles, one of which had a 10-month-old child in the car who's now hospitalized. The ages of the 3 individuals in this stolen car that led police on a high-speed chase endangering the entire motoring public, 15, 16, and 17 years of age. We got a problem, y'all. And it is, with every passing day, more and more clear that what we're doing is not working. This is as clear an indication as you will ever find. This is just since we aired the Tuesday show, and today is Thursday. Now listen, I get it. I understand full well, and I don't want it to be a blanket indictment of all teenagers. But the fact of the matter is, we now have in our midst a substantial number of young people that have no regard for other people's property, their safety, or the sanctity of innocent people's lives. And conventional wisdom would say, when juveniles look at how we treat them as far as the justice system is concerned, it's only an impetus for them to do more of the same thing. Because after all, the punishment does not fit the crime. And they know full well, at most, I'll go to juvie, I'll be out before you know it, and look at the additional street cred that I'll have when I get out. Say what you will about all of these crimes involving 15, 16, 17-year-olds. Say what you want about Clarence, them young people. I don't see what's in their heads these days. This is also, my fellow Louisianians, a serious indictment on us. Because lest we forget, these are our kids. We brought them here, and we have a responsibility to them. You know, if it were just your household that's being victimized by these young miscreants, that would be one thing. But the innocent public deserves better. And right now, based on what we're seeing over and over and over again, we're not getting it. Speaking of how we treat our kids, this week, U.S. Marshals, along with law enforcement in the New Orleans area, combining for an operation that ended up rescuing 17 juveniles, many of whom were victims of human trafficking. It is something that it's hard for decent people to wrap their minds around. And maybe, just maybe, we will now become more cognizant of the signs that are out there involving human trafficking. Human trafficking is terrible enough as it is, but when it involves children, that's a blot on our society, y'all. As you know, you've heard me say this before. A former pastor of mine was very fond of saying, you can tell a lot about a society, about how it treats its elderly and its children. And when U.S. Marshals and law enforcement rescue 17 juveniles, many of whom they suspect of being trafficked by adults, that pretty much tells you everything you need to know. At the end of the day, there is a special place in hell for people like this. But in the meantime, as we await them arriving at their ultimate destination, we owe our children a whole lot better than this. We truly do. It is something that we will keep an eye on as time goes by. And fortunately, because of news coverage in this regard, the public's awareness has become heightened in this regard. But again, y'all, in between the trafficking of juveniles, mostly for sexual purposes, and the litany of crimes just since Tuesday, over the last 2 days, that we talked about this morning. I guess in hindsight, it shouldn't be all that hard to realize and or understand why some young people pursue the things that they do, because quite frankly, they don't have any hope. If you today were to approach, 100, 1,000 young people and ask them, how long do you think you're going to live? Probably not a one of them would give you the average life expectancy of an average American. Most of them, if they're honest with you, will readily tell you, I don't think I'll make it to 25. That's not an indictment, y'all, of those young people. It's an indictment of our society and the communities in which they live. And quite frankly, those juveniles are not able to effect change. They can't vote. So guess who that falls on? That is firmly in our laps. Louisiana, our children are talking to us, and sadly, we continue not to listen. We are coming up on our first break of today's show. If you kept up with the historic LSU and Southern first ever football game, you're probably aware that traffic after the game was an absolute nightmare. A lot of folks reporting, man, I sat in traffic for 2-3 hours after the game. Obviously, that's not acceptable. So, what are we going to do to alleviate the problem? I laugh because you got to stick around and hear what one agency is proposing as a remedy for the traffic problem after a big game at LSU. I want you to hear this, and maybe you can help me understand. Am I the only one that thinks not only will this not help the problem, it may well seriously exacerbate another problem that we're already plagued with, more so than maybe any other state in the nation? We'll talk about that when we continue today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
The 2022 Mazda CX-5 with iActive all-wheel drive and available turbo engine. It truly ignites the senses.
Save on your new CX-5 right now during the season of discovery at Team Mazda.
Hi, gang. Clarence Bugs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Bugs Show.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Welcome back to the Thursday edition of the Clarence Bugs Show. I am still celebrating the fact that here in the capital city this past weekend, our two institutions of higher learning, LSU and Southern University, finally engaged one another on the gridiron. Historic in nature, and something that hopefully will help the healing process in our city. However, estimates are that there were as many as 200,000 people on campus for the game. And of course, Tiger Stadium holds just in excess of 100,000, which means there was about another 100,000 people on campus tailgating, enjoying the festivities, and the like. As a result, traffic after the game was an absolute nightmare. Folks are reporting anywhere from 2 to 3 hours sitting in traffic. So to ensure that this does not happen again, the Alcohol and Beverage Control Board, the ABC board, is proposing something that they will vote on later today, Thursday, that they feel will help alleviate the problem of traffic. Now, I know what you're saying. Hey, wait a minute. What does the Alcohol and Beverage Control Board have to do with traffic flow? Well, I'm glad you posed that question. The ABC board says that in direct response to the gridlock after the game, board chairman Scott Wilfong thinks if we give the bars an extra hour to stay open, don't force them to close at 2, let them stay open till 3 in the morning, that will cut down on the traffic. You can't make this stuff up, y'all. As if we already did not have a monumental problem with people drinking too much and then getting behind the wheel of a car, let's allow the bars to stay open for another hour. Here's a thought. Let's follow this line of reasoning all the way through. If giving the bars an extra hour will help reduce traffic, therefore increasing safety, why don't we just let them stay open 24 hours? Then there's absolutely no rush to get to the bar, and we'll all be safe. I'm trying to wrap my mind around how the preponderance of individuals, and let's be honest, there are still some of us old folks that go to bars. I can't remember or tell you the last time I've been to a bar. But conventional wisdom says typically it's going to be the younger crowd, especially in Tigerland after a game. So allowing young people, many of whom have no experience at all in handling alcohol, to have an extra hour to drink. Now, you know what's going to happen, y'all. You already know. After watching The Traffic Nightmare, their rationale would be, well, hey, we don't have to rush. Let's go back to the tailgate and drink some more. And then when we finish drinking some more at the tailgate, then we'll head to the bar because they're going to be open till 3 in the morning. Speaking of, you can't make this stuff up. There's got to be a better way, y'all. And I, for one, am wondering, okay, if we have this massive problem with traffic, why would we not, instead of letting the bars stay open for an extra hour, why would we not consult with some firm, agency, police department, whomever, that has experience moving massive amounts of traffic in an expeditious manner? Why would we not do that instead of exacerbating a problem that is already plaguing our city and our state, and thousands of our fellow Louisianians are dying at the wheel every year? There's got to be a better way, y'all. And I'm tempted to say, well, you got to at least applaud the guy for trying. But when the solution, leaving the bars open till 3, exacerbates an already existing problem, it's hard to wrap your mind around it. As I mentioned, the ABC board is scheduled to vote on this proposal today. And by the way, the head of the ABC board, after they vote, it then goes to the Metro Council for them to vote. The head of the ABC board says, well, I've talked to at least a half dozen members of the Metro Council already, and they don't have a problem with it. I'm hoping the ABC board, after the vote, if they forward this to the Metro Council, saner minds will prevail. That is my hope. Now listen, I know what some of y'all are thinking. Well, Clarence, you're a conservative. You believe in limited government. You don't want government intruding on our lives. Fact of the matter is, after you turn 18, you're considered an adult. And I don't really want people telling me, as a responsible person, how long I can stay at a bar and how much I can drink. And you would be right in that regard. But here's the problem, my friends. How many times have you heard me say, when you fail to govern yourself, you now consent to be governed? And the fact of the matter is, we have exhibited with horrific regularity the fact that many of us don't possess the ability to, or simply don't want to abide by the rules of a civilized society. Our fellow Louisianians are dying by the thousands on our roadways at the hands of people driving drunk. And how allowing the bars to stay open an extra hour is going to fix that in the name of an expeditious flow of traffic is beyond me. Ran across this story this week that confirmed to me we don't have a problem with law enforcement, as in police. We've got a problem enforcing the law. Have you heard this story? Police made an arrest here in Baton Rouge this week for a guy that a year and a half ago sideswiped a car on I-10. Both vehicles pull over to talk about the wreck. The guy that was hit looked at the damage and told sideswipe guy, look, man, this is minor damage. Don't worry about it. So the guy who hit the victim then demands $100 not to file a police report. So the victim says, you know what? All right, I'll pay you the 100. Considering how minor as it is, my insurance premiums might go up. It's a headache I don't need. Okay, I'll pay you the 100. I don't have 100 on me. Follow me to the bank, and I'll get you $100. So sure enough, they go to the bank. When they get there, sideswipe guy then demands $400. So the victim says, that's all right. Let's call the police. So they call the BRPD. BRPD shows up and says, sorry guys, this accident happened on I-12, so state police will have to handle this. The BRPD officer leaves. Sideswipe guy, who first wanted $100, now wants $400, then demands that the victim give him everything in his account. Oh, it gets better. It gets much better. After demanding all the money in his account, he then grabs the victim by the neck, threatens him, steals his laptop, his cell phone, and his car keys. After stealing the victim's valuables, he then allegedly tells the victim, I'm a hardened criminal and I was just released from jail, and proudly shows the victim his ankle monitor. What in God's name was this guy doing on the streets? If what he said was true, and I have no reason to doubt it, unless he was using a fake ankle monitor, what in God's name was this clown doing on our streets? First you demand 100, then 400, then all of the money, and then steals your laptop, your cell phone, and your car keys, while bragging about the fact that you're a hardened criminal and showcase your ankle monitor. I say again, my fellow Louisianians, we don't have a law enforcement problem. We've got a problem enforcing the law. That's not on the police. That's not on BRPD. That's not on the EBR Sheriff's Office. That's not on state police. That's on the judges. And by the way, who is it that elects these people? That's right, us. Just an observation. Bottom of the hour break. Let me get this out of the way. When we come back, they don't get it. We'll talk about that when we continue today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Your favorite season is back, and now's the time you can score savings at the Team Automotive Group. You can sell your vehicle to us, and we'll pay you top value. Or buy here and get a 90-day warranty on the purchase of a pre-owned vehicle. Score VIP service and save at every location of the Team Automotive Group.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to the Thursday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. This segment we entitle, They Don't Get It. You know, if you've kept up with the exploits of the Biden-Harris administration since their inauguration, you've seen any number of things happen, and you say to yourself, they didn't think this one all the way through. They didn't take 1 minute to figure out what could possibly go wrong. I mean, things like, I laugh only to stop from crying. When you see the Easter Bunny have to go and rescue the President of the United States at the White House Easter egg roll. Only because they left him alone, knowing, bless his little old heart, he's not all there. There's any number of instances of the White House doing something while in real time, in reality, we're seeing the exact opposite of what they're saying to us. For example, this week, the White House holds a garden party, invites over 1,000 people to come and celebrate the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, proudly proclaiming to America, look what we've done to fight inflation. They didn't realize, apparently, or didn't care, or thought you were too stupid to notice, that the government run by the Biden-Harris administration on that same day, while Joe Biden was speaking about the merits of the Inflation Reduction Act, the stock market, the Dow, dropped nearly 1,300 points. Why? Because the numbers released that day of the garden party with James Taylor serenading the audience, the numbers showed inflation for last month went up even more. Now, if that weren't bad enough, if no one in the administration that had anything to do with putting together this garden party to celebrate the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, if no one thought, okay, we're going to hold this big to-do, this big soiree to celebrate the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, what can we present in a concrete fashion so that Americans will think, well, yeah, it's a good idea that you passed this because look how great it's working. They are the ones that released the inflation numbers that showed inflation is still going up. You know what was really funny about this? While Joe Biden is speaking, as the major networks do on many an occasion, there's a split screen. Something on one side, something else on the other. As is usually the case, there's the stock market ticker on one side of the screen, showing how the Dow, the NASDAQ, Bitcoin, whatever, how it's trending as we speak. So here's Joe on one side of the screen celebrating the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, while in real time, America is looking at the stock market ticker, watching it drop nearly 1,300 points. And the same day, the former Obama White House economic advisor informed the public, you hadn't seen the worst of inflation yet. It's going to go up even more. But they hold a party to celebrate the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act. Meanwhile, a couple of Democrat congressmen that voted to pass this act were pushed this week. Can you tell us when the Inflation Reduction Act is going to result in a reduction in inflation? Well, no, we can't really say when that's going to happen. But wait, it's the Inflation Reduction Act. When is it going to start reducing inflation? Well, we don't really know. You can't make this stuff up. It's priorities, people. The priorities of the Biden-Harris administration are so screwed up, it is mind-boggling. For example, the Centers for Disease Control have declared monkeypox to be a national health emergency. If memory serves correct, there's only been 3 deaths that I know of in this country for monkeypox. But it's a health emergency, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Meanwhile, last year, 107,000 of our fellow Americans died from an opioid abuse exacerbated by fentanyl. So far, this year, we have seized enough fentanyl coming across our borders to kill every single person living in this country. So let's see. On this hand, we have 3 deaths. On this hand, we have 107,000 deaths. Guess which one they say is a health emergency? 3 people, 107,000 people. Oh, this one is the emergency. You know what that's called? Gaslighting and deflection. Ooh, look over here, look over here. Pay attention to this problem, hoping you will ignore the real problem. 3 people dead on this side, 107,000 dead on this side. And which one, according to this federal government agency, is an emergency? You know, this is why, my humble opinion only, the founding fathers were so wise in crafting our form of government. I forget who it was that I should attribute the quote to, but you're familiar with it. It says, and I'll paraphrase, when people learn they can vote themselves raises, our republic is doomed. How completely and totally out of touch could you be to declare a health emergency for 3 people while ignoring the deaths of 107,000? You know, if it weren't so tragically sad, it might actually be laughable. My fellow Americans, if this is what you voted for, you the problem. And the fact of the matter is, of that 107,000, the fentanyl doesn't care if you're black, white, brown, red, yellow. The fentanyl doesn't care if you are Democrat, Republican, Independent. It doesn't care. Of the 107,000 of our fellow Americans in 1 year that died from this scourge, somebody you know knows somebody who's suffering from it. And yet, the CDC would use its taxpayer-funded budget to declare a health emergency over something that's only claimed 3 lives, as tragic as that is, while doing nothing to address the 107,000. Just occurred to me, and here's the thought. Here's the thought. If they were to address the 107,000, that would mean that they've got to address what's happening at the southern border, because that's where a whole lot of this stuff is getting into the country. And Vice President Kamala Harris has already told us the border's secure. So if they crack down on fentanyl and where it's coming from across our southern border, then they are going to have to address the problem at the border. It's all crystal clear now. Final break of today's show. When we come back, yet another reminder, my fellow Americans, that what you've heard me say all these years is the gospel truth. Don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do. We'll talk about that when we come back and put that big old pretty bow on this puppy and wrap up today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Thursday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, if you've listened to me on radio, watched me on TV over the course of many, many years, you know that your buddy Clarence is a big fan of adages. The older among us because of their wisdom and the benefit of their life experiences, have been able over time to coin phrases that pass along to us their knowledge and their wisdom. There's an old adage that says, actions speak louder than words. I guess maybe 10, 12, 15 years ago, morphed that adage into saying, don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. Because after all, actions speak louder than words. Since the advent of the Biden-Harris administration, the left has gone into full-blown green agenda. We've got to save the planet, and fossil fuels are the physical equivalent of Satan. We've all been browbeaten with, you got to do your part to reduce the carbon footprint and help us save the planet. Another old adage says you should lead by example. Joe Biden this week at the National Car Show was touting electric vehicles, Corvette and Cadillac, saying this is what we got to do to save the planet. But this week, Joe Biden hops on Air Force One, which the last I checked was a 747, and that puppy spews out carbon like 40 going north. He hops on Air Force One to go home to Delaware to, wait for it, vote. And did I mention Delaware has mail-in voting? So let me get this straight. You get on a 747 to fly home to vote when your state has mail-in voting. But you are going to preach to me about lowering my carbon footprint to save the planet. Meanwhile, not to be outdone, Vice President Kamala Harris tweeting out this week, proudly, I might add, that she will be flying this week to Buffalo, New York, to promote the White House's efforts to, you guessed it, save the planet from climate change. I don't have any specifics, but I'm reasonably certain that she will be flying on Air Force Two. So the very top of the hill and the second in command, both ardent climate change crusaders, and both this week are hopping on 747s to do something that could have very easily been accomplished in some other way. Don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do. And the sad thing here is, if your heart was truly in the right place and you truly meant what you said, you could have used these opportunities for the betterment. Meaning, when talking to reporters, the president, the leader of the free world, could have said, you know, in our battle to fight climate change, I'm going to lead by example. Instead of flying home on a 747 to go and vote, I decided that I would mail in my ballot because it is legal in Delaware. But no, that's too much like right. Speaking of what the old folk used to say, that's too much like right. It would have been a marvelous opportunity to lead by example. See, that's why, speaking of coining phrases, so many of us on the right understand wholeheartedly rules for thee, but not for me. One set of rules for you, another set of rules for me. And those that are the loudest voices, Harrison Ford, Leonardo DiCaprio, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, they are the worst carbon emitters on the freaking planet. But they are the ones that will preach to us incessantly, day in and day out, about how we've got to do our part to fight climate change. And they are the biggest contributors to the problem. You know, conventional wisdom would say, based on what I've been preaching and based on what I've been doing, it's just a matter of time before people figure out I'm a fraud. You would like to think, I know I would, that they would give the American public the credit to say, you know what, people are smarter than this, and they will be able to see clear through this. I guess if they thought that way, however, they wouldn't be able to continue to push a fake agenda. They're probably figuring, these dumb Americans, they'll never get it. And they might be on to something. Most recent poll, and we're going to talk about this in the next show. Recent poll shows fully over 25% of our fellow Americans cannot name one single branch of government. So when they think we're dumb, they probably are on to something. A quarter of my fellow Americans cannot name one single branch of government. My time's up, y'all, and I gotta go. But this day, especially after that announcement, maybe more so than any other, I give it to you. You know what? You're right. America, we are not perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's the best there is, and God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you realize he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Best news you gonna get all day. Ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. See you soon. God bless.